So in today's session, we'll talk about how to set up an ECR repository, okay, and how to push our images to this ECR repository. Okay, so let's get started. So before using it, we need to set up. So first, let's go to the official ECR documentation. Okay, so just search for AWS ECR. Okay, Elastic Container Registry. Okay, so what is this ECR? It is Amazon Elastic Container Registry. So use it to store, share, and deploy your container images anywhere. That means within this EC2, within your AWS, you can use this service to store all your container images and also to pull all your container images into various clusters whenever these are needed. Okay, so we can push container image to AWS ECR without installing or scaling infrastructure. That means so we don't have to worry about managing that ECR because this is a managed service. Okay, you don't have to know you don't have to do any upgrades, maintenance, or scaling these ECR because AWS automatically does that for you, including installation and scaling the infrastructure. Okay, whenever there is a load on ECR, automatically it gets scaled. Okay, and also ECR provides HTTPS based communication, so you don't have to worry about security as well. Okay, so by default HTTPS is enabled. Clear? So what you can do is you can containerize your application, and then you can push your container images to the ECR. So ECR can compress, encrypt, and it can also do role based access control to that images. It also has versionings, tags, and manage image life cycles. That means you can set some policies like the images less than 3 months can be automatically deleted, so you can have deletion policies like that. Even ECR supports policies such as ECR rejects images with the same tag. Okay, so when you try to push them for the second time, let's say ECR already has Nginx 1.0 image. So next time when you try to push the same Nginx 1.0, it will reject it. So that kind of policy also you can set in ECR. Understood? And what all services uses ECR? We have Elastic Container Service, which is ECS, and then Elastic Kubernetes Service, and any other AWS service. Like let's say you wanted to pull ECR, images within in ECR in EC2. Okay, so that is also possible. Okay, so not only within AWS, you can also use ECR on premises. That means you can pull the images by being in your own local machine. Okay, clear, guys? So in order to get started, so you can use any of these hyperlinks here. And in AWS free tier, you'll be getting 500 MB of private registry storage per month. Okay, so that means you can have up to 500 MB per month. So anything more than that will be charged. Okay, so here explore benefits of AWS containers, not this. So getting started with AWS ECR. So let's click on this link. Okay, so here AWS ECR is AWS managed container image registry service. Okay, supports private registries as well with role based access control or resource based control using IAM. Okay, using IAM you can restrict who can access your registry. And yeah, so these are various components of ECR. We have registry, we can have tokens to access the registry, and we have the repository. So I already told what is the difference between registry and repository. Okay, and then how to get started with ECR. So pricing, about the pricing already. If you want to know ECR pricing, you can just go through this hyperlink and see how you will be charged. How much you'll be charged for the storage. Okay, And for getting started with this, you can use this link, how to get started with ECR, or else you can click on this next topic, setting up. Okay. So for setting up, you need an AWS account, so that's for sure. And then you need to create an IAM user, because you cannot use root user, right? So yesterday, if you see, we have used Docker login command. So for that, we created a service account. Okay. So what is a service account basically, guys? Any idea what is a service account?
It's a special account which have restricted privileges.
Yeah. So basically, there will be two types of accounts. So one is your user account, okay, and the other one is service account, okay. The service account generally we use for all the automation scripts, or where access to through GUI is not needed. Okay, user account means you'll have UI access, you'll have the password, all that stuff. But in case of service account, they are also like your user accounts, but you will not have UI access. That means you will not give UI access to them, and instead of passwords, they get usually tokens with certain expiry. Okay, like that. Both are same. Only thing is there are certain differences. Okay, so let's say in your Jenkins pipeline, okay, in your CI/CD pipeline, you want to push images to a registry like your ECR. Okay, for that you need Docker login to log into your ECR repository, let's say so. So which credentials you'll use? You will not use any user credentials, because this Jenkins pipeline can be used by any user. Okay, unnecessarily you will not want to expose certain users credentials here. Instead, what we do, we create a service account. Okay, and that service account gets a name, okay, also known as username or service account name. And in case of password, we'll use token. That's it. In case if this token is compromised, what we'll do, we'll simply revoke this token, and then we'll recreate another token. That's it. Or else if the service account is no longer needed, we'll just delete it, because it is easy to create again if there is a requirement. Okay, similarly this Docker related commands is needed by, so one more Jenkins installation. Okay, so for that you create one more service account, then it gets a username and password. Okay, that is a service account. Clear? Okay, so first, basically we need an IAM user to just talk to that ECR service. Okay, and we'll see what how to create an IAM user, what all permissions to give. Okay, we'll see all those. And then once an IAM account is created, so he gets his own URL and login credentials. Okay, so even that is also not needed for now. Okay, let's go to the next one, getting started. Okay, so here you can create a repository in two ways, from UI directly or through command line. So here they are showing how to create a repository from the command line. Okay, so let's skip to the next topic. Okay, so this is through UI. Next is through AWS CLI. Okay, so AWS CLI is a command line interface. Okay, to talk to your AWS. So all you have to do is you download that CLI. It looks just like your command prompt. Okay, your command line. And then once you download and install that AWS CLI, so what you can do is you can configure it to talk to your AWS account. Okay, so here I can just download the AWS CLI from the other link. Okay, for Linux, basically you can use any of your package managers, or you can simply curl this zip file and then unzip it. You will have the AWS CLI. Okay, but for our EC2 instances, we already have that AWS CLI inbuilt. Okay, so I'm running Docker here, so I'll just take the IP address in. connect it, connect to it. Okay, so sudo su. So if I just type for AWS, see it is responding. Okay, so that means AWS CLI is installed. So AWS CLI version 2 is installed. And if I have to check the version, it's simple, AWS hyphen hyphen version. Okay, AWS CLI needs the Python as the dependency. Okay, so that's the minimum dependency needed. Okay, because AWS the CLI is written in Python, and that's why Python is the requirement. Okay, so once we have the AWS CLI, so what you have to do is you have to log in to connect to the AWS account. Okay, so here this is not given, so let's go back to the previous page. So after installation, anyways, we already have the Docker in the machine. Okay, so let's go ahead and you know okay, configure our AWS CLI to talk to the AWS instance. Okay, so basically this is not given here how to configure. So if you go through the documentation, right, I have clearly given. Okay, so what you have to do once you have the AWS CLI, you have to run AWS configure. Okay, so then it will ask you to enter your access key and secret access key, but I don't have them, right? Because I didn't create a user account. Okay, so first what I have to do, I have to create an IAM user who can talk to this ECR service. Okay, so let's go to our ECR, sorry, IAM. Just search for IAM service, which is identity and access management. Okay, so I have one user who is a root user. Okay, so there are no IAM users created. I can just click on users on the left hand side and click on add users. Okay, so name of the user I wanted to give it as developer. Okay, so you can add multiple users from this button over here, and then select the AWS credential type. Okay, so AWS credential can be programmatic access. So in case if you wanted to use this account only for your automation purposes, okay, just like your bot account or a service account. In this case, AWS will not generate the password. Instead, it will give you an access key and a secret access key. Okay, which is kind of a username and a key. So only through programs like your Python, GoLang, or AWS CLI, you'll get access to your AWS. Okay, it's through programmatic access. Next thing is through password, which means you'll get access to the AWS console. So whatever console that you're seeing, that is that is what you get if you select the second one. So first, I'll just go with the programmatic access for this particular username. Okay, you can also uh, name this something like ECR hyphen user. Okay, so the user who can access only ECR, I can also do that. So next, permissions, there are three ways of attaching permissions. Okay, so let's say you already have a group and that group has all the required permissions, then the newly created user can be added to that group, or else you create a group, give certain permissions to that group, and add the newly created user to that group. That is one. Or else you copy existing permissions from any other user. Let's say I already have a similar user and I wanted to copy his permissions to this newly created user, I can do that. Or else attach policies directly. Okay, so instead of using the first two options, I can attach the policies directly. Okay, if you see here, these are all the various policies. Okay, so this is the first policy, which is administrator access. That means using this policy, this particular user gets complete access to my AWS resources. It is like an administrator. Okay, let's say I wanted to give only EC2 access. Okay, all you have to do is you have to search for EC2. Okay, if you see here, I have AWS EC2 full access. If I give this permission to him, that means he can access my EC2 complete service, like creation of the instances, deletion, modification, anything he can do. Let's say he only can, that particular user only has to uh, read the EC2. Then I can give him read access for EC2. Okay. Similarly, let's say I want that user to only access my EKS. Okay, then I can select is EKS related permissions. In my case, I wanted to use ECR, but ECR directly is not available like this. So you have to use full name like Elastic container, okay, registry. Okay, here these are all the available options: Elastic container registry, public full access, or power user and read only. Okay, so I can give him full access to my ECR. Excuse me. Okay, so if you want to know more about what all permissions he gets, okay, so you can expand this, and you can read what all permissions he is getting. Okay, so I'm not going to go through them. Okay, and then click on next. So tags, if you want, you can assign tags. Next, review. Okay, see here his username is ECR hyphen user. He is only getting a programmatic access. Okay, and then he is getting only access to container registry. Okay, let's create this user. Okay, so as soon as you create the user, you'll be asked to download the CSV file. Usually this will have the user credentials and also his dedicated URL. Okay, so let's copy his dedicated URL. Okay, let's open it in incognito. See here, that particular user got a user ID and a specific uh, sign in access to the console, but here he will not have the console access. Okay, so let's usually let's close it and open the file which I just downloaded. So if I open this file, he will have username, access key, and secret access key. Okay, and the console link if he has that right to access the console. Understood, guys? Okay, so these are his credentials. So how to use them? Okay, so basically I can use them using in any programmatic programming languages like Python, Golang. AWS also provides software development kits, libraries to programmatically connect your EC2. So in any of these I can use them as credentials. Now let's see how to use it in case of our AWS CLI. Okay, so once I create this AWS CLI, right, so what I can do is I can first configure my AWS CLI. Okay, so all I have to do is let me reconnect the session. Sudo su. So I will do AWS configure. It is asking for the access ID. What's my access ID? This one. Okay, just give your access ID. Now secret access, this. Okay, default reason name. Okay, so when you created a user, you must have selected a reason, right? Okay, so you can find this on top of this here. Okay, so basically when you create the user, the default reason will be selected. Okay, so you have to make sure that, okay, 1 second. I think it's a default only, so you can leave it like that. Okay, it is using the global, right? Okay, IAM service is global, so you can leave it like that. Okay, and then default output format. So default output format is a JSON format basically. Okay, you also have YAML format and all. So if you are not sure, just leave it like that. Okay, so now my AWS CLI is configured to talk to my AWS using these credentials. Now let's see various options available under AWS. Okay, I can use hyphen help. Okay, so all the supported commands are available. Let's say I wanted to, it's not hyphen help, it is just help. See, all these are available. Okay, let's see about maybe S3. Okay, let's see whether this user has access to S3 buckets or not. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to do AWS S3, and within that service, let's see the help. And that S3 supports all these commands. Let's see ls, so ls will list all the S3 buckets. So AWS S3 ls, see here, access denied. Okay, so if buckets are not there, the error would have been different, but here access itself is denied. Okay, so that means since I gave my user, okay, ECR hyphen user, the access to only ECR, so which means access to any other service other than ECR will be rejected. Okay, so now my IAM user is configured to talk to AWS CLI. Okay, so that's one thing. Okay, so after that, what we will do, we will create a repository. Okay, so let's go to our ECR. Okay, so within my AWS, I'll search for ECR, which is, sorry, EKS here, ECR, Plastic Container Service, Container Registry. This one. So first, let me show you from the UI. Okay. So here, in order to get started with the repository from the UI, I can just click on Get Started. So repository settings, whether it is public or private, I can set it to private. Okay, and provide a repository name. Okay, what repository you wanted to have here. So you wanted to store Nginx based images, or you have any custom name? Yes, I have a custom name. So the name I wanted to give it as Python demo. Okay, repository name. Okay, tags we will see later. Okay, tags cannot be mentioned here. So tag immutability. Enable this immutability tag to prevent tags from being overridden. So it is basically disabled. That means if I am pushing Python demo 1.0 again and again, your repository will accept it. But if I enable it, every time your tag should be unique. Okay, so this is how you protect your tags. Okay, so let's disable for now. And image scan setting, so you want your ECR to scan your repository automatically at the time of push. Yes, if you want. Okay, this service is offered completely free of service, free of charge. Okay, so encryptions, I don't need any encryption because it may be charged. So let's click on create repository. Okay, if you see, our repository is created, and tag immutability is disabled. That means you can push the similar tag multiple times. Okay, and if you click on this Python demo, see, there are no tags all at all. Okay, so this is how you create a repository from UI. Okay, so if you want to create it from the CLI tool, okay, so you have to refer the documentation. Okay, see the documentation here. Since I already have certain images, okay, what all images I have? So Docker image ls. Okay, so I have this sonotype Nexus. Assume I let's say I wanted to store this Nexus 3 within my ECR, but Nexus 3 is very high in size. Let's not do that. Let's pull a very basic image, busybox. Okay, so this is busybox image. I just downloaded. Now I wanted to store this busybox image within my ECR. Okay, so in order to store that within your ECR, I have to retag it, right? Correct, guys? I have to retag it. Correct or wrong?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay, so here they are giving these tagging commands also. Okay, so how you have to tag? You have to take your old image and tag it with this format. So it should have your AWS account ID and DKR, ECR, whatever reason you are in, and the rest of the things. Okay, and if you don't know this reason, it is always I prefer it with uh, AP South one, I think. So when you are creating your registries, right, you'll also have to, okay, select this reason here. Okay, so here currently I'm in AP South one. Okay, so whatever your reason, so you have to properly tag your image. Okay, so if you're still not sure, right, how to tag your image, just create one from the UI and take this particular URI here. Okay, me it here. So you can create one manually and take that URL. Okay, so now what image I have downloaded? I downloaded the busybox. So I have to tag that busybox latest. Okay, and this is my account ID. This TKRECR is common. This is the reason which will change, and again this part is common. So here I have to change the name. Okay, so here I'm using busybox colon latest. Okay, so normal busybox latest, I am tagging it with my ECR full URL. Okay, let's just run this here and then see the list of images. I now have the image properly tagged. Okay, let's see the next process. So once you tag it, you can simply push that image. Okay, but before pushing, what all things I have to have? I have to have that repository existing, right? So here, what is a repository I'm trying to create? It is busybox. Forget about the tags. It's busybox. But from the UI, which one we created? We created Python demo as a repository. But here we are pushing busybox repository image, but that repository is not created yet. Okay, so if you directly try to push it, let's see what will happen. So tag we already did it. We have to push it. What it is saying? First, there are no auth credentials. Okay, so you did not log in into your ECR repository. Clear? So you have to log in. Again, the command is given. So AWS ECR get login password hyphen hyphen reason, your reason. Okay, basically you will not have any password. It is a token. So I can simply run this like this. Okay, so I'm running only the first part. Reason is AP South one in my case. Okay, it is saying get authorized token. One second, guys. Okay, let me do one more time. AWS configure. So access key, let me provide it again. Secret access from here. And then in the reason, I left blank last time. So this time let me use AP South one default format. Let's leave it like that. Now try to get the password. It's saying no identity based policy allows the easier get authorization. Okay, let's see what's this error. Okay. So this particular user, AWS EC2 full access. So you need to give the administrative access and EC2 full access also. Okay. Okay, let's see why this is coming. An error occurred, access denied, exception calling get authorization token user. This user is not authorized to perform ECR get authorization token on resource star because no identity policy allows. Okay, let me search for this. EC. Okay, so you should also have EC2 container registry full access EC2. Okay, I think we already have this, right? So all we have to do is you have to go to the IAM user, select the ECR hyphen user, and then what policies? Elastic container registry. So which one they are asking? EC2. Okay, so I need to also attach this permission. Okay, so let's copy this permission. Okay, so here add permissions, attach an existing one and search for it. Okay, so this also is needed. Review, add permission. So now I have two permissions attached to that user. One is Elastic Container Registry and EC2 Container Registry full access. Here, I am basically what exactly why this is needed is, so I'm using this ECR registry full access, that is fine. But I'm trying to call the authorization token, that is I'm fetching the authentication token by being in my EC2 instance. So that's why this particular EC2 instance which I am using should have access to ECR. It is to EC2 to ECR access. So this access I'm missing, that's why I didn't get the proper token. Now if I try, see here, I got the token. You understood, guys, what I am trying to say?
Yes.
Okay, so this is like your login password. Okay, so I need to get that password from this command. And if I have to do docker login, so I have to use the full command here. The full command is, okay, so here I'll fetch that token and I'll give that token to the docker login command. So username is AWS, that is fixed, and password I'm giving it from the input. So it is not hyphen hyphen password, it is hyphen password hyphen stdin. So that means to this command there should be an input. So the first part, the output of the first part becomes the input of the second part through this here pipe. Okay, clear, guys? And then I'll log into my repository. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so let's copy it from here. Okay, and tilde south one, and what is my repository URL? So we already tagged it, right? This one till your com part. Okay, not the image name. That's it. Okay. It's saying unknown options.
We,
Um,
we should use Docker, right? We use both
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
correct.
things.
Yeah, you're correct. It's Docker login. I think I didn't copy it properly. Docker login here. Okay, so login is successful. Now let's try to push your image. Okay, it is retrying because this busybox repository is not created. Okay, so you can create it from UI. or else you can create it from the command line. Okay, from the command line they have given, so AWS ECR create repository, repository name, image scanning, whether you wanted to scan it on push, okay, or else no. Okay, so let's copy this. Okay, so I have to create a repository by name busybox. Image scanning, if you want you can put it to true, otherwise it's no. Reason, it is basically this reason, AP South one. Copy this command and create. Okay, see, it is created, it didn't give any error, it created. So you can also verify it from the POI also. Plastic container registry, see here, busybox. Only thing is it will not have any tags yet. Okay, since my repository is now created, now let's try to push. See, it pushed. So the tag is latest. If you go back to the UI and just refresh it, it will have latest. Okay, clear? Yes, I can also tag it with a different tag, docker tag. Instead of busybox latest, I'm tagging it with 1.0, and again push 1.0. Okay, so the layer exists, but the tag will be created if you just refresh. See here, it is latest 1.0, all pointing to the same image ID. Okay, now let's see what will happen if I try to push the same image tag here. It is not complaining because it is basically allowed. Okay, so this is how you use ECR. So how do I basically pull? It is the same. So you're using docker push to push the images, but for pulling you will use docker pull. Okay, so how do I delete a particular image? Okay, so you can use this delete command. Okay, understood? So your AWS ECR batch delete which repository and which tag you wanted to delete. Okay, then that particular tag will be deleted. You can also delete the whole repository by giving like this. Okay, that whole repository will be gone. So let's say I wanted to delete my whole what's the other repository I have python hyphen demo, right? So python hyphen demo repository I wanted to delete. So this will delete all the tags. So reason, it is AP South one. Copy it. So that is deleted. So if you go back to your ECR and then refresh, see that python demo is gone. Clear, guys? Guys, understood?
Yes, Vic.
Vikram, is it possible to
Just
update
second.
also?
Yeah, I'm updating right now. Okay, you can give your full permissions or restrict to only these two permissions. Okay, so I'll share this file. Okay, I'll re-upload this file. Is okay. It's here. I'll re-upload it today. Understood? Any questions? Yes.
Vikram,
Eh, mhm.
we can create and delete, and we can update same Docker image.
Yeah, if the tags are allowed. So if I just go to the ECR, if the tag immutability is enabled, you cannot update the same image. You need to push it with the different tag. Okay. So let's see the repository. Then if I set it to basically enable, right? Then
Okay,
click on save. So what all tags I have? I have 1.0. Okay. Let's see if I try to push 1.0, it will accept or not. Okay. So the tag is there. One second. So what is this tag immutability? Okay. Tag immutability is enabled. Just a second. I'll just confirm. So what is this enable? Enable tag immutability to prevent image tags from being overridden by subsequent image pushes using the same tag. Okay, so since I enable, okay, it is still allowing me, right? It is still allowing me. Okay, let me do one thing. So let's so Docker pull Nginx Alpine some another image. I'll tag it with the same name. Okay, so even though it is Nginx image, yes. So let me tag it with the same busybox 1.0. Okay, just to create a change. Okay, now let me push it. Okay, see here. Okay, the tag 1.0 is already available and you cannot override it because repository is immutable.
okay.
It is going to check the contents first. Okay, first if the contents are similar, it will try to say that layer is already existing. It will not throw an error. But if you have any changes in the image and if you are tagging with the same tag, then it will try to give you an error.
I mean, uh, for example, my requirement is we got some security alerts, okay, security checks, and I need to update the image with the new Ubuntu. I mean, just I'm telling, there is some operating system or something Ubuntu. So that time I need to update the Ubuntu latest version and push a image to ECR. Is it possible?
I mean, with the same tag,
Yeah, because
then
that
you
image
turn
only
off
causing issue.
immutability. Okay, understood.
Okay,
So you turn off immutability for all the repositories, then you push them, and then you enable mutability again.
so that latest
Because I
version is
think that
available.
tag is already being used by a lot of other applications, right? You cannot change the tag,
Correct.
maybe. Then
Yeah,
you
yeah, that is
disable
true.
immutability, push it with the same tag. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the problem is, if your container images are using the old images, and if they don't
Mm-hmm.
have this image pull policy. Okay, so there is this image pull policy in Kubernetes. Okay, if
Right.
your host has an older image with a certain tag, so your containers will not try to pull it again. Okay,
Okay.
understood.
Okay.
You need to
Yeah,
set
yeah.
restart policy as always, then only. Even though if that particular image is already existing, it will try to re-download that image, then in that case you'll see the change. Okay, it's not you updated with the same tag and all the containers will pull it again. It's not like that. Okay, so let me give you a simple example here. I have Docker busybox image which is latest. Okay, let's assume I have this Nginx Alpine which is readily available in my host. So what will happen if this Nginx Alpine, okay, with the same name is updated in the Docker hub?
Correct.
Now, if I run a container with Nginx Alpine, so your Docker will first see whether this image is there here or not. It is there. why will it pull the latest one again if that particular tag is already available, right? It creates a
Okay.
collision. So it's not always so that's the reason why you have immutability in place, so that you update with a latest tag or a different tag, then you'll force
Mhm.
all the containers to pull the image latest image. Okay. So
So it will
updating the
not.
existing image is not suggestible always, because you are indirectly rewriting the information. That means if in future if you want to revert back to the older one, you will not able to revert back, because you already replaced it with the same tag.
Okay. But I mean, for example, I mean, same thing. Like I'm using the Docker image for different sources. Okay. So, but we are getting some security alerts. Like this is Ubuntu is a old one,
Then
so
better
you
you
need
fix
to
the
up.
image and push it with a different tag, and ask all your application developers to refer to the newer Docker image. Never
Okay,
update the
okay.
existing ones. Okay, they'll create a lot of issues.
Okay. Thank you, Vikram. And one
And
more.
there is a
Yeah.
use case with this latest tag. Okay, so this latest is available for a reason. Okay, so you always have this latest tag assigned for an image, right? So what is the meaning of this is, let's say Nginx has a tag 1.0 in the beginning of its development, let's say. So now when they push this 1.0 tag, they'll retag this image with the latest, and they'll push both the tags 1.0 and latest. Here latest is now pointing to 1.0. In future, now if they upgrade the image to 2.0, they'll retag this 2.0 again with the same name, latest. Now in the database, this latest is also an alias to the 2.0 image. Okay, understood. So this latest is not always pointing to a specific tag. So the latest will always point to the latest tag. Okay, that's why
Oh,
when you directly use Nginx latest within Kubernetes, so whenever it finds this latest, it always fetches that image from the repository, even though that container, even though that host has that Nginx latest. Okay, the container will pull it. Okay, because this Nginx latest may be pointing to 1.0, and the user might have upgraded it to 3.0 in the latest release. So the latest is always moving forward with the actual development. Okay,
okay. Okay.
that's why as a best practice, your you should never tag your images, or use the latest ones. Okay, because latest one will always fetch the latest ones. You use the actual tag, okay, to restrict it to a particular tag. So always use nginx 1.0, nginx 2.0, then people will know so which image you have used, not the latest, because latest might this year it is 1.0, next year it may go up to 11.0, right?
Right, right, correct. So based on our requirement, we can use into the lower
Yeah,
versions only.
correct. You should be very careful when updating the images, and also for you, while you're using the latest tag.
Okay. Thank you. And one more doubt. Actually, we are discussed about the Sonatype and the Nexus, and now we are discussed about the ECR.
Yeah.
What is the difference actually? Sonatype and Nexus is a traditional DevOps, and ECR is the latest. I mean, latest means configured with the
No. Mm,
AWS. No.
no. So basically sonatype nexus is and if you take the case of ECR, so ECR only supports the Docker images. Okay,
Okay.
ECR is there so that it becomes easier for your EKS elastic container service. Okay, they can talk to ECR to fetch the container images. Since these are all AWS resources, the networking will be there. That means I can pull the images in a much within very less time, because both can be within the same private network. Okay, so bandwidth can be saved, and this is basically a managed service, so I don't have to worry about the updates, upgrades, maintenance, scaling, etc., because everything is handled by my cloud provider. Okay, So not
Okay.
only ECR, AWS, Azure has Elastic, Azure Container Registry.
Yeah,
Okay,
ACR.
I think ACR, and then
Yeah,
Google has
correct.
Google Container Registry, GCR. Okay, so these are all managed. When in case of Nexus, there is no managed service. You take an EC2 instance and then you deploy Nexus in it. Okay, and here
Okay.
Nexus supports your Docker images. It can store your generic artifact like zip file, war file, zar file, tar file, ISO, img files. It can also act like a proxy for your Python based dependencies, Maven dependencies, R, okay, Groovy. It can also store your Helm charts. Okay,
Okay. So
and you
now
need to
we
manage this
suggest.
particular installation. It depends on the requirement. Okay, so if it
Okay.
is only container images is your requirement, okay, then you go ahead with your ECR. Okay, but ECR is only meant to work in AWS. So if your infra is in AWS, okay, and your applications needs only container images, ECR is the best available option.
Okay. Okay. So earlier we are
Okay,
generally we are using for the Nexus, but after cloud integration we are using the ACR and ECRs, right?
yeah, it's not like that. Okay, it depending upon the requirement. Even the cloud
Okay.
has ECR, even Nexus can provide the similar features. With the Nexus Pro version, you will get all these features.